Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard with you. We're live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. Action-packed 3-hour program coming up today. Jeff Sealey makes his 2026 debut. He will get into the Sony Open. Golf is back, baby.
Koepka's back.
How about that? Do you think that put a smile on his face?
Forgive and forget.
The biggest Koepka fan in the world.
Yeah.
We'll get some best bets and analysis from him in 30 minutes. Sal Palantonio. Now what does he have to say? Eagles aren't winning at all, my man.
Well, spaghetti and meatballs in the bag.
Mike Palm in the studio. In studio in 90 minutes. Jonathan Davis, hockey. Matt Human's best bets. NFL this weekend. Probably some college basketball tonight as well. Well, how about that? News today again. It's all over the place. Dante Moore going to go back to Oregon. And we did play a soundbite from Todd McShay's podcast last week, and he was kicking around the idea, if you're Dante Moore's people, like, do you put out feelers to the Raiders and ask them, is there any chance you're going to take this guy number 1 overall? If not, we don't want to go to the Jets at number 2. So he made the announcement today, and he'll be able to make as much money going back to the Ducks as he would have year 1, like on a rookie contract with any team anyway. So
Bad move, though, because the guaranteed money. Hunter went number 2 last year. He got $46 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
Do you think it was that bad against Indiana? This is a incredible move here. No matter what Phil Knight pays you, $46 million guaranteed to the number 2 pick last year. And he says, no mas, I'm going back to Oregon. Oh, it's a stunner.
There is. Can you imagine what life would have been like when we were in college, Pauly? Put yourself in his shoes. He's 20 years old. And you can get probably $5 million to be the big man on campus for 1 more year.
Uber Eats for everyone.
I mean, that's pretty tough to say no to, I would think.
Oh, man. And then Raiola just went there. May probably change his mind, too, after the news.
No, I guess that he's going to be pretty happy sitting behind him for a year.
Okay. Mendoza now 8,000 at DraftKings to go number 1.
Yeah,
and now this is why it's so important to get the number 1 pick, because now the Raiders have serious leverage. So now, it's always fun when you go back to like 1990 sports talk radio, where it's, how about we get 4 number 1s and I'll take your answer off the air. So now it's Raider fans are thinking the Jets could give up the farm to move up 1 spot here and go all in. And would the Jets be crazy enough to do it? I like this scenario where, as Adam Schefter was on ESPN Milwaukee today and said it's still up in the air if LaFleur is going to return. Maybe the Raiders use some of those picks then and then try to get Matt LaFleur, which could be an interesting move. But in any event, this is why you lose down the stretch, and this is why you get the number 1 pick, because stuff like this can happen now. And certainly there's going to be teams calling to get that number 1 pick, as it's Mendoza and everyone else now.
Well, you certainly, if other teams have interest, could be the Jets, could be another team. I don't know how far the Raiders would want to go down in the draft, but you can have them over a barrel at this point. And obviously with the Jets now having extra picks, they made moves at the deadline. They have picks to be aggressive on something like this, but if the Raiders find out like the Jets do really need a quarterback that badly and they're absolutely in love with Mendoza and the package is right, you got to trade down. And you're going to be right back in this spot because you'll get the number 2 this year. You'll probably get their number 1 next year. You're the Las Vegas Raiders. You're still going to have a high pick next season, and the quarterback class next year looks like it's going to be way better than this season anyway. But there's also this angle, too, and that is, could the Jets, could Chambliss blow one of these teams away?
Yes, that's in play. He's 30-1, the second choice.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mendoza just, like the Raiders, that's the guy, right? They have to get him, and they're not going to have that trade package available when they go with him overall in the draft anyway. But you can also, eventually Books, DK, FanDuel, they're going to put together the team to draft Mendoza and the team to draft Chambliss. And that's probably the way that you're going to want to approach it, because just wait until the combine again. And there could be some steam. I'm not going to tell you that there absolutely will be, but there could be some steam on something like that where all of a sudden there are reports, or at least one report out there that says, Raiders are actually thinking Chambliss and not Mendoza. As the world turns, remember, go back to Stroud and Young a couple years ago. Nobody had any idea what was going to happen until about an hour before kickoff when the market took off.
Mm-hmm.
And then Young turned into the guy. But also, the Panthers lost their minds that year when they traded up to number 1 with Chicago.
What are the Jets going to do now? Like Dan Leberfeld said yesterday, they have so many needs, and it was the worst defense Worst Jet defense he's seen since he's covered the team. So now they're stuck as well. What they're gonna do. Not that I like more at number 2 anyways, but it really hurts the Jets too. Maybe the Jets are just better off trading down and hopefully someone falls in love with somebody.
Sure, that could be an option. Or if they stay put, maybe they just build with all these picks that they have anyway, and you don't have to go quarterback. You don't have to be desperate and reach for one of these guys. I don't know. Is Bain? You're going to hear this so often in the next couple of months. I'm already sick of it, to be honest. Ooh, Bain, very good, ultra talented, but man, the arms are so short.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But watching Ohio State this year, every time I think I had them on, I was blown away by Reese. Now, does that mean that he's going to be a great NFL player? No. But if I'm the Jets, he'd be a pretty tough talent to turn down, I think. And some of these other quarterbacks, I mean, these teams are out of their minds to consider Ty Simpson, Carson Beck. I would actually say in the first round.
Simpson might go. I think Chambliss will go. And we know Mendoza's going number 1. So maybe someone else will pop up there too, because teams lose their minds almost every year. Can't say every year, but almost every year. And there'll be a reach. And the other options are who's out there too. I mean, what are you going to do? Is Winston actually a starter on one of these teams by default? What could happen? Not great options left around the league.
Well,
what you're going to do? I mean, look at the Rodgers talk. So now Art Rooney said, well, Rodgers came here to play with Tomlin. Even if Rodgers wants to come back, there's no possible destinations. Maybe Atlanta, but they like Cousins and reworked his deal, and you have Penix. I can't imagine they do a 1-year deal in Minnesota, even though O'Connell said there's going to be competition from McCarthy, and there's no way he's going to Arizona because they were last place and it'll be a new coach. He doesn't even have options if he would want to come back.
There's not a lot. I mean, he's not going to go to a middling team or less than that, right?
Right, you want to be on a team a team that can compete, right?
And he would, and that, I mean, the Steelers, I mean, they bowed out, they crashed and burned on Monday night, but at least that team was in the mix for the playoffs and the division the entire year, and that's the kind of team that we're talking about. Atlanta would make sense, but I don't know if they're going to just, as you said, they reworked Cousins' deal, and he was actually pretty decent down the stretch, and would they punt on that idea?
Well, it's a new coach, too. He's got to sign off on it.
Like, what would the upgrade be from Kirk Cousins to Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Not so sure that would be
It appears it's over, right? But then the other thing is, Rooney says there's no rebuild. So is it Kyler Murray? What are they going to do at quarterback? That's interesting. Can't run it back with Mason Rudolph. So
no, do they make some sort of a move? Would they make a trade eventually? Would they look at Tua? I don't think I'd really like Tua in Pittsburgh.
Oh, not in the cold. No. Can't do that. But I don't know what's going to happen with Kyler Murray, and that's floated out there as a possible destination that he could wind up in Pittsburgh.
Yep. Earlier today, this was Dante Moore, again, the Oregon Ducks quarterback who made up his mind to come back. He made his decision on SportsCenter.
Yeah, of course. First things first, I have to give glory to God for, of course, letting me be on this platform I am, the blessings he's given me. Yeah, this past year was a year that I remember for the rest of my life. Just my teammates, the adversity we went through, and just the way being able to, as a kid, to play in the semifinals. And, of course, the year didn't end the way you wanted to end. And, of course, got to give your kudos and credit to Indiana. But, yeah, with this decision, mainly all my life, it's kind of just been, being as most prepared as I can for any situation I go into. And when it comes to me just making my decision, of course, I want to feel most prepared and, just best for my situation, especially as a quarterback. And with my decision, it's been very tough. I prayed a lot about it, talked to many people, my mentors and people I just look up to. And with that being said, of course, I'll be coming back to Oregon for one more year and being able to play for the Oregon Ducks and, of course, reach our goal and be national champions.
Maybe there's something similar between Moore and Rodgers. Moore brought up a point, did not want the season to end like that to Indiana, and he didn't want that taste in his mouth. And maybe Rodgers just is like, man, I can't leave like that. I never threw INTs in my career.
Yeah.
I was the best ever at limiting those, and I got a pick 6 to end my what?
Well, it's a gamble, though. I mean, this backfired on Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley was going to be a top 5, top 10 pick. He went like, 4th, 5th round. Matt Leinart was going to be a top 2, top 3 pick. He still went top 15. But that didn't work out for his career, and he hurt himself holding out in Arizona. So it's a risk coming back, and maybe it blows up in your face because even as bad as you played against Indiana, you would have been a top 10 pick.
And again, next year's class.
Very good. That's another good angle, yes.
And you're already going, you've heard this already probably if you're looking at it like every single day, people are already making the case that Arch Manning is going to be the number one pick next year. And had he come out this year, he would have been the number one pick. Agree or disagree with that all you want. That's what film guys are saying, whoever, right? And you're going to have that steam next year as well, unless he's a disaster at Texas in his second season around. He got better, but it's not just him; it's more guys too. And so I don't know if Moore would be in competition to be that highly selected a year from now or not. But he's taking a little bit of a gamble for sure. Ducks are going to be unbettable, I think, to win the national title next year. The number is going to be too low, and I would not want to bet him to win the Heisman because he'll be less than 10-1 as well.
Okay.
Although the Ducks have had some of the transfers they've landed so far, the way it appears, they're going to be loaded again. But what's new?
Now see if the Jets would be crazy enough to give up all these picks just to move up one spot. This is insane now, if this could happen. Because I like to know what their plan B is, or if they trade down, or what they're going to do. There was a great tweet about the best option is Winston. Have Winston start and throw it 40 times a game.
Well, I'll say this:
the Jets. It certainly doesn't look good for the Jets, but as bad as their quarterback play was last year, when the owner rips Fields. Oh boy!
The fact that Winston was a third-string quarterback for most of the year is just wrong anyway.
Yes.
He should
that
be
I'll agree with.
Minimum of a backup some spots.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. More and more props are showing for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. The numbers on Josh Allen are sensational. And if you think the Bills are losing this game, then this prop is probably way too low based on his history. I'll explain why coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We are live in Vegas. As always, thanks for watching on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, or any of our great affiliates from coast to coast. Sony Open analysis, best bets, Jeff Sealey coming up in 15 minutes. Do you think we're going to get in store for another weekend of bombs cashing these weekly stat leader props?
Well, we had 3 of them, and I'm trying to make the case for one right now and waiting on the receivers. But I wouldn't mind running it back with Loveland again, who was offered. Remember, Kirk wasn't offered at Circa, even though he was 400-1 at FanDuel. I think Loveland can have a big game, but it also begs the question, how much can weather impact that Bears game based on being, how cold it's going to be. Maybe McLaughlin, 40-1, most rushing. I wanted to make the case for Marks, but he's the third choice. I like Marks over 55.5 rushing yards, but not big enough. And I was thinking about running it back with Caleb Williams, but he's the second shot. So it is interesting in what could be a high-scoring game in Denver that Josh Allen is 8-1 and Bo Nix is the longest shot on the board at 9-1. If Allen falls behind, or if it's a back-and-forth game and Nix has some success through the air and it's like a 34-31 job, that they're the two biggest shots on the board for passing.
Well, there's an angle there as well. And I'm glad that you brought that up because the Bills have been, again, really bad. It did not play out like this against Jacksonville, but again, full season, they've gotten off to slow starts as much as any team, if not more than anybody in the entire league. So they're basically down to 3 receivers still at this point, right?
That's why you'd think Shakir, Cooks, and then, he kept targeting Shakir and kept hitting him. That could be a guy, even though we missed out last week, a guy you want to ladder. How about Shavers playing the second half with a torn ACL? That's incredible.
But I'm also like, if they fall behind big, he's not going to have a lot of guys to throw to.
Yes.
But if they're going to be throwing the ball a lot, there's an angle here where a Bills receiver could lead the weekend in receiving yards.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably going to get some decent prices on any of those guys.
Yeah.
I will bring up.
Shakir's not bad. That I would look. Yeah.
Okay. I will bring this up. A couple of things from the same game. I'm looking at Troy Franklin for the Broncos. His catch prop is 2.5, and you can see it as high as plus 134-ish to go over that. He's 14-3 over 2.5 catches on the year. All of this stuff is up and available at vsin.com when you click on tools, the NFL prop analyzer. 14-3 over 2.5 catches, and it's plus 135. Now, here's the deal. Routes for the full season on the team. Sutton ran 92%. Franklin 72%. Pat Bryant 51%. This is where it gets a little tricky with the handicap. From week 10 on, Bryant ran 70% of routes, Franklin 63%. So Pat Bryant overtook him. Bigger target. When you go down a rabbit hole, Sean Payton likes to use bigger targets in general. So Bryant caught him, surpassed him, and had more routes. How about targets per route run on the season? Franklin led the team 21%. Bryant was at 15%. But from week 10 on, Franklin and Sutton 20%, Bryant 19%. And then targets full year, Franklin had 18% of the targets, Bryant 10%, but from week 10 on, Bryant 16%, Franklin 15%. And I went back and looked. He's the only guy to score a touchdown against Buffalo in the playoff game last year, but he only had 2 catches on 3 targets, 54 yards and a TD. But 2.5 at that plus money, that looks, that might be worth a pop to me.
Josh Allen rushing attempts, now that we've seen so much of the tush push, 8 attempts minus 140 at DraftKings. But also the comeback could be he's banged up and has so many injuries that he's got to be careful with how many times he takes off.
And you like the Broncos to win the game.
Get that, yes.
Well, here's the angle. So when you go back and look at Josh Allen and in his 6 career playoff losses, his average stats in those games, 261 yards passing, 1.5 touchdowns, 0.33 INTs, 62.5% completion. His rushing stats per game, 64.2 yards and 3 total touchdowns. So on average, his stat line in those 6 losses, 325 yards of offense and 2 touchdowns per game. And in those losses, he ran for 92 yards against the Texans, 88, 72, and 68 against the Chiefs, 39 against the Chiefs last year, and 26 against the Bengals when he had 8 carries and 1 touchdown. His passing and rushing yards prop is 253.5. So if it turns into a Bills game where he has to do everything, it doesn't matter how banged up the guy is. And by the way, his teammates came out and said this week, like the world has no idea how hurt Josh Allen actually is. He doesn't let anybody know about it. We know, but he will never let you know. So, but 253.5.
Don't I play man defense and contain them and shut them down? I mean, he's got 3 guys to throw to. And if I can limit Cook, play man, don't play zone, play man defense. I got an excellent defense. You know, help out your cousin Moss, who gets torched from time to time and kill her with the penalties. But then I would think I'd be able to contain them, and I don't give up a lot of points.
Yeah. No, that's the game flow that you want, by the way. So for those of you betting on the Broncos this game, I think you have to add a little 253.5. Because if they're up in this game, it's going to be turning into the guy will be Superman out there on the field. And they might not win the game, but over 253.5 is a very low number, in my opinion, when you combine his passing and rushing yards. Now, if they win the game, this could be more of a typical Bills game this season where he might actually only throw for 178 and James Cook runs for 112, but that's easier said than done as well. I like that bet. I like the combo there with Allen.
And I'm with you on Bo Nix rushing yards, too. They should have at least 21 yards.
Yeah,
get that on one play.
Last 2 games in the regular season, now I get it, that's only 2 out of 17 that he played in the regular season, but 9 for 42 and a touchdown, 8 for 49. He was really taking off. Drake May is 14-4 over 224.5 passing yards on the year. 11-7 under 30.5 attempts. 11-7 over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And his combo number for rushing and receiving is 264.5. He's 14-4 over that number on the season. All these numbers again available at vsin.com. Caleb Williams is 12-6 over 32.5 attempts. But are we going to get 33 attempts out of him in a game that's going to have some of the coldest temperatures we've had for a playoff game?
I also got to see how windy it is. Yep. Circa's got 49.5 longest made field goal. Should have won last week. Tough loss, but I think that's good as well. to play that under.
Matthew Stafford had 2+ passing touchdowns in 16 games this year. If you want to play the alt number of over 1.5, it's higher than $2. I don't really feel like doing that, especially with the conditions that we have in the game.
Could May lead in rushing yards for the second straight week?
In the game?
In the game. Could that happen? Because they did an excellent job shutting down the Chargers' rushing attack. Maybe Marks gets 40, and that's it. And hard to run on Houston. Number one, they split carries, and maybe he has a couple long runs, and 50 yards is good enough to get there, as he did last week at 9-1.
Is it similar to 9-1 this week?
It's the only game that isn't offered on DraftKings.
Yeah, to answer your question, he absolutely can.
Yeah. Caleb's 25, Purdy's 22, Bo Nix is 19, Josh Allen's 5-1. Most rushing yards in the game.
Boy, Bo Nix at 19. I mean, I think there's clearly an angle here where the Broncos defense can really limit James Cook.
Yeah.
I don't, man. Again, if I said this yesterday, if J.K. Dobbins was still healthy, I think this would be the game that he would go ballistic in.
Caesars has it. It's 5-1. Good job, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really low. Damn. But going back to also throwing in the bombs and your weekly leaders, Seattle's rushing attack has been great the last 3 games, and they ran all over San Francisco in the last meeting, even though they split carries. But could you get – we only have we're down to 4 games. Maybe 80, 90 yards is good enough to
Certainly,
do this.
no doubt.
That could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Walker or Charbonnet, that could hold up.
I'll give you some other numbers on the website again, the prop analyzer. Kyle Monunga, you got to lay juice on this. He's 14-4 under 1.5 catches on the year. 14-4 under. A.J. Barner is 13-4 under 3.5 catches. Now you like Loveland again. He's 13. The website has him graded at 13-4 under 4.5 catches on the year.
I think that's a big game for Loveland, Burden, and Adunze, based on and also where they're priced.
Do you want to bet under Matthew Stafford half a rushing yard? He's 12-6 under that number this year.
Well, he took off last week.
Yeah, but he ended up with 0 yards.
Wow, the stupid kneel downs too. I know, but you couldn't slow down Coker and McMillan and Bryce Young. And now you're going against Caleb Williams and the weapons that he has. So I would think you can't get 40 yards out of Adunze and Burden. And I think Loveland could be in store for a 100-yard game too, based on how bad this Rams defense has been. McBride torched them as well. So I think the tight end can eat against the Rams too. Yeah.
One question I got to throw at, we'll see, either Sal Pell or Mike Palm today. All the talk is going to be how will the Rams players, Dome Stadium team,
right,
from Los Angeles, how will they handle the cold? Do we know how the Bears are going to handle it? It's not like they've been in this spot a zillion times over the years.
It's been bad for Stafford, though.
I know. Well, we'll update you on that coming up. Golf is back this week. Jeff Sealey makes his 26th debut to handicap the card at the Sony Open and give out some best bets next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
What a time of year. NFL playoffs, full gear, national title game next week. Golf is back, baby, and every week throughout the golf season, we talk about it with our next guest, longtime friend of the show, Indy Jeff Sealey on the program. You can follow him on X. He is at Cutmaker Jeff, and his podcast is called the Cutmaker Podcast. It's going to debut next week with Jeff Sherman over at the Westgate. Happy 2026 golf season, my man. How are you?
Great, guys. Excited to be back on chatting some golf with you and what should be a fun tournament, fun and very competitive tournament this week. So excited to talk about it.
Good.
And he is on the Progressive guest line. We'll get into your bets and analysis coming up in a second. I want to ask you this. A couple of months here off before the season obviously kicks back in now at the Sony, and there's so much data out there in the golf world now, websites, et cetera. Did you try to incorporate AI into your modeling, into your analysis of golf, maybe starting this week?
Yeah, Mitch. I mean, honestly, I think it's been part of what I did in football towards the end of the year, and certainly in golf as I work towards building out sort of my top 50 players, and it's one of the things Sherman and I'll talk about next week. But I think you have to now, and it's really interesting. When you can simulate a tournament 10,000 times and see what some results are going to be in there. And then, but what's interesting is when you see a lot of these quote unquote AI results and simulations, the hard part is if you didn't build the data and you didn't enter all the input, how good is the output, right? And so I think that's interesting is you could see various simulations people have run, and you assume those people put some common input in. But I think in the end of the day, it's what you get out is often what you put in. And a really good example this week, I mean, I think is the Sims love Corey Connors as an example. And I think, on paper, Corey Connors should be an amazing fit. Anybody who's ever bet Corey Connors, and I know everyone on this discussion has, how tilting Corey Connors is. You've ever bet on him when he misses back-to-back 5-foot putts, and it's no different this week. I mean, he should be a perfect fit here. Yet, when you look at Corey Connors, his last 3 trips here, he's lost an average of 4 strokes putting. So what's Corey Connors going to do? He's going to hit the ball well, and he's going to miss putts, and he's going to finish 15th. And if your bet's a top 20 bet, okay, great. But he's matched up against a guy like Bobby McIntyre, who I think I've got him right now as ranked number 11 in the world in my rankings versus Connors, who will be in the mid 20s. And I think comparing them, Bobby Mac's a much better player, I think, overall, and has played here twice, so he'll have some experience coming in. And if I were playing those two in a matchup, I'd play Bobby McIntyre. But all the Sims really like Connor, so that's an example of one that the AI likes more than I do. And maybe it's look, I'm certainly human and have some human scar tissue from losing money on Corey Connors, so that's definitely baked into my brain somewhere. But I know the putting's not going to be there, and so it's hard in a tournament where putting is going to be so critical. So many people are going to be competing because it's a short course. That if you got a guy who can't putt, I don't love that going in.
All right, rapid fire. Give us your top play, and what do you think the winning score will be?
Yeah, so my top play in terms of the top of the board, I really do like I like Keegan Bradley a lot this week. I think the winning score will be somewhere between high teens, low 20s, 17, 18, 19, 20 to 1. 20 under will win. I like Keegan Bradley here. You can find him at 22 to 1 or so. What I was looking at, guys, normally this is being played right after the Kapalua event, and obviously didn't take place this year. So guys are going to be coming in a little more rusty. What I was looking at, have the guys played in at least the last 2 months? Some guys haven't. I didn't care so much about how they played, but did they play at all? Keegan Bradley played in the Hero World Challenge, and but he's actually played this event 15 times and finished inside the top 6 in his last 2, gaining an average of 4 strokes putting in his last 2 trips. So we know Keegan Bradley's an elite ball striker. He's had success putting here lately. He's played in the last month. So I think that Keegan, I didn't think he'd be one of my favorites coming in this week, but I really liked him a lot, and he's probably my favorite guy in that 20 to 1 range or so.
All right, you think?
I bet him top 10 at 2 to 1. I really like that.
Okay, you're big here, course history, and is that why you're on Nick Taylor?
Yeah, for sure. Nick Taylor is the quintessential course horse. Won the event last year by chipping in during the playoff, coming in off a top 20 in December. Again, I mentioned that. And he has a win, 2 7th-place finishes, and 11th-place finish here in his last 4 trips. Puts the lights out here. His irons have been extremely strong here. There's not a lot more to say. I think you don't overthink it. You just play Nick Taylor. You can find him over 3 to 1, top 10, which I think is an amazing price. So really like him.
Also, top 10 as well. What's the price you found on him, Nick Taylor, the best number overall?
I played him I found him plus 340. I played him plus 340 top 10. I'm sure he's a little better out there. I just saw that this morning and took it. But I think top 10, that's an amazing price for Nick Taylor. I'd be surprised if he didn't compete for at least the top 10 this week.
How are you playing Kitayama here this week?
So he is going to be one of my favorite plays this year going into the 2026 season. I knew I was going to like him coming in. His form's insane. I've already bet him top 20. I will probably play him top 10. I did bet a little bit on the outright. But, guys, dating back to last July, he's played in 8 events and has a win, a top 5, and 4 more top 20s. So 6 of his last 8 events, he's finished inside the top 20, including a win. Always been a good ball striker. It's putting that has gone from bad to average. That's been huge here. So I'm playing him top 20 at plus 160. I'll probably ladder those as well, but I did play a little bit on the outright at 40 to 1 with him.
Nico Echeverry appears to be very popular this week. Are you in that same? Do you have the same sentiment of other people like Wes Reynolds and I think Jeff Sherman, who I heard make the case for him?
Yeah, I love him this week, and he's a great example, Mitch, of the AI versus the more, I guess, traditional handicap, if you will. I think a lot of the AI sims like Daniel Berger are better than Nico, but it's really, really hard to not like Nico with 2 top 10s in the last 4 months, and was a reigning runner-up. He was the one who lost to Taylor and when he chipped in. So Nico's tremendous play, very strong putter, who's traditionally struggled with his chipping. Chipping doesn't mean a ton this week. Good course history, obviously. You can find him at top 20 at like 165 or 175. So I think that's a fantastic play this week, and you might even sprinkle a little bit on the outright, hoping he makes a big comeback.
How about a couple bombs, please?
Guys, Johnny Kiefer broke all of Scotty Scheffler's Korn Ferry records. Comes in with plenty of hype. Finished 7th at the RSM a few months ago. We may never see a 70-1 on Johnny Kiefer again if he wins this week.
All right. So
this is a really interesting spot. I think I'm going to look at some top 10s for sure, buy a few shares at 70-1. And I love Nick Dunlap as a first-round leader and so on. He was at 200 and has come way down. He's still 120. After exploding on the scene, winning the Amex at age 18, played 48 events since then, has some flashes of greatness, but his drivers really, really held him back. What I like here is this is an event where he finished 10th here last year despite losing strokes off the tee, finished T8 in November on the Worldwide Technology. He can get a super, super hot putter and does not have to hit driver very often. I think he's a tremendous value this week, 120-1, great first-round leader play. You can get some really good top 10 and top 20 prices on him. So Nick Dunlap, I think, is a terrific bomb. And I did a fun parlay, top 10 parlay. Nick Taylor, Nick Dunlap, top 10 parlay pays 45-1.
Excellent.
So that's a fun piece of money bet you might want to make. I think it would be pretty cool.
2 minutes left. How about the big news? Koepka comes back. He'll play at the Farmers Insurance Open. He faces heavy financial penalties and limited playing opportunities. How about this about face?
Yeah, and it's interesting. When Koepka left the tour, he said he was doing it to spend more time with his family, and when he's coming back, he says he's doing it to spend more time with his family. But the irony is, though, I don't think that anybody realized how much of a global tour the LIV would be, right? And while it sounds like he's kind of talking out both sides of his mouth, I think there's probably some sincerity to it, and that you can play a lot of East Coast golf and not be going all over the world like LIV does. I bet he will travel less than he did on LIV. So interesting in that regard. Look, I mean, I was a Koepka fan. I'm happy to see it. I'll be interesting to see how he's priced in the Waste Management tournament he's won before. But, man, I have not seen good golf out of him in a long, long time. And obviously I'm hopeful that things get turned around. But it's going to be a while till I invest some real money on Koepka. I'm sure he'll have a good round, and I'll light money on fire at some point. But we will. But it's fun to see spurts of the old Brooks. If we can see it again, I'll be excited. So if nothing else, I think it'll be fun, and it gives me some hope that I can win my futures bet.
Yeah. How many guys do you have for first round leader, by the way, this week? Is it just Dunlap? Taylor?
Yeah, I just have 2 right now. I did Johnny Kiefer and Dunlap. Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, buddy. It's great to have it back. Thank you for popping on the program today, and we appreciate it. Best of luck this week. All right.
Thanks, fellas. Talk soon.
Thank you. Jeff Sealey. Podcast is called the Cupmaker Podcast, coming back next week with the aforementioned Jeff Sherman over at the Westgate, and he's on X at Cupmaker Jeff as well.
Door is open for DeChambeau, Rahm, and Cam Smith as well. Maybe they come back too.
I think I saw Rahm shutting it down earlier, but who knows? Up next, win some, lose some. Pauly will recap a lot of the action from last night. And Angle is now 15-2 after last night's bloodbath.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Start with hockey. Home teams 9-1. Tampa's won 11 in a row. Goal in the first 10 on the road. Nashville 10 in a row. Washington 15 of 18. St. Louis 17 of 21. At home, Vegas 8 of 9. Likewise, Columbus. Buffalo and Utah 6 of 7. Overall, goal in the first 10, 7 in a row for the Caps, 7 of 8 for Seattle, 12 of 15 for Vegas. Thanks to Ian Duncan.
What did you make of Utah thrashing Toronto?
Not surprised. Great letdown spot after beating Colorado.
Here's the angle that I brought up yesterday at the end of the show. That's now 15-2. On the back end of a doubleheader or a back-to-back for a team that plays at Colorado and then the next night. The next night is now 15-2 when you fade them.
Very good. More on that coming up. College hoops. Miami, Ohio improves to 18-0. They won and covered one big.
Oh, they won by 40.
Yep. George Mason, 17-1 on the season. Northern Iowa, Illinois, Chicago over. 122.5 up to 128. 69-61. New Mexico, Grand Canyon over. That's a league game now, Smokey. 139.5 up to 146. 87-64. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in, we'll put you on. Thanks to everyone, you do an incredible job. You know who you are. Look at the dogs won't come out of their snow cave. Look at this. Zoom in, peekaboo. Look at this, the labs. They got their little hut. Perfect. Sitting there. No, I'm good. I'm comfortable. I'm fine. Yeah, I like it.
I don't picture you as somebody, even though you grew up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, somebody who loved the snow, or am I wrong?
Oh, I loved it as a kid, yeah.
We built this stuff all the time.
Absolutely, you did.
Like, I never wanted to come in the house.
Yeah, that is great. Look at those guys. That is creative. And this one, same thing, different type of weather. We've shown this before, but this is the entire reel. This is the entire reel where it's raining, and she's trying to get the dog to come out of the pool, and he's having none of it. So finally she jumps in. No, right back in. No, right back in. Goes, grabs him. Hey, come on, let's go. It's raining, come back in. No, cannonball. Every single time. Coming back in. That was great. The first time we showed it, it was just cannonball after cannonball.
Like that?
Coming in. There it was, yeah. Finally, the owner, the human, has to jump in because the dog was having none of it.
Well,
so
by
good.
the way, as one trying to corral both those as one person in the pool to pick them up and yank them out, not exactly the easiest thing to do.
No, I love they keep going out. They just come right back in every single time. Yeah, they both are. Send that to me, Luke. That's awesome. Look at the look on his face. He's pounding the water in frustration, too, but I'm not getting out. Oilers, 1-7 when playing on a back-to-back. What has happened in Winnipeg and Vancouver? More on that coming up with Jonathan Davis. Winnipeg had the best record in the league last year. They're near the bottom, and Vancouver's lost 8 in a row. The Bucks +3 to -1, and the under 233 to 229. No good. Blasted by Minnesota. Indiana, Michigan State over 140 up to 145. Also no good. Before the line moves, the sharp plays is already there. January isn't about volume, it's about precision. NFL playoffs are when limits rise, mistakes shrink, and timing matters more than ever. Advanced AI, proven insider sources, locked in on the playoffs. You get free reports, alerts, and market-moving insights straight to your inbox or X feed. Jeff and the crew been at it since 2011. Documented results, public logs, transparent receipts. You've heard him on the show many times. He's been with us since day one. Give him a follow. SharpPlays.com. Trusted by pros, monitored by the books. Visit SharpPlays.com. So still not ruling out Warner. Greenlaw will be back for Denver. Gonzalez is good to go for the Patriots.
Yeah, Vrabel told the media much earlier today that they expected Christian Gonzalez to be on the practice field and that he does anticipate him being out there. And I think that obviously on a Wednesday translates to him now playing in the game as well coming up this weekend. Have all the numbers here. Great job by our producer, Luke, by tracking all this stuff down. Gonzalez on the season, like number of targets by game, how many receptions he allowed, how many yards, etc. And you take Nico Collins now off the field for Houston. Kirk was awesome. Now, is Gonzalez going to be the primary guy on Kirk the entire game? That feels a little unlikely. But like the worst game this year, looking at all these spots, the Atlanta game on November 2nd, on 9 targets, 4 catches, 67 yards. Drake London had 3 catches for 75 yards overall on 7 targets. I mean, a lot of this is like one catch allowed for 2 yards, 1 catch allowed for 15 yards. The Bengals game, heavy shadow coverage with Jamar Chase suspended on T. Higgins. He allowed 3 catches for 42 yards, no touchdown. More recent games, actually, at Baltimore. Zay Flowers did pretty well. He shadowed Flowers on most of his routes, 7 targets. He actually gave up all those catches, 84 yards. Okay, so that was not a great game for him. And the Miami game to close out the season, we're talking about Theo Weiss. Malik Washington covered multiple times. He allowed 4 catches for 50 yards. But overall, I mean, the numbers don't lie. He is one of the best shutdown corners in the entire sport. So I don't know if Kirk's going to be running around like a mad. The Steelers secondary is terrible.
It's interesting, the prop, who's going to have the most receiving yards in the Denver game. Shakir's 3-1. He just might get it by default because how many targets and catches he's going to have. And your boy Franklin's 19.
Well, I don't hate that number. Can we get a big game out of Brandon Cooks?
Yeah, but it's only plus 550.
Okay.
But I like him over. He's in the 30s. You got Stafford. Stafford in rain and snow. 1-9 his last 10. 16-11 touchdown INT ratio. The Rams last 10 in Chicago. 2-8. Negative 109 point differential. Expected to be 15 to 20 degrees. 55% chance of snow. 20 mile per hour winds. Good stuff there.
Total in the game.
Yeah, maybe it gets colder too.
Is 48.5 still. Maybe still too high. Those are all, around sitting key numbers. I can see that landing. That might be, man. But here's the thing. Both defenses can be had.
Yeah, I know.
Even if the weather is going to be that cold, I think there's an angle here where both running attacks can really get it going here. And the question is, how will McVay stick with it? Also, I would expect that Puka Nacua is going to be targeted a ton of times in this game.
That's the guy you need, though. If he only has an average game, then most receiving yards, I think another bomb can come in then. That's in play.
Well, who should not be impacted?
But JSN could have a big game, too, I guess.
Devontae Adams is not going to be impacted by the cold,
He didn't look right.
No, he didn't, but also I thought Stafford missed him a few times.
That's fair. Yeah.
But he's also got another full week of practice, and he played all those years with Rodgers in Green Bay in cold weather games. He should be fine.
Odds to be the next Arizona Cardinals head coach globally. Vance Joseph plus 225. Graziano was reset yesterday. ESPN predicts Kubiak 6-1. Atlanta Falcons Stefanski plus 225. Kubiak 3-1. Harbaugh 4-1.
Well, the more that we're getting away from the actual dates that these guys were fired, the shorter the odds become on Harbaugh to go to the Giants. So that means that you should have been plucking up, for those of you who can get down on this stuff and you want to, Stefanski to other gigs other than New York made sense a couple days ago. I think the Atlanta job would be a pretty good one for him.
I would like Harbaugh to Atlanta. And I also like this Mike Florio story about the hold-up, and it's up in the air about what's going on with LaFleur. Who's to say a team doesn't reach out and they try to make a trade?
You want the Giants to do that?
I think that's not bad. Have LaFleur coach Robinson, Dart, Scatteraboo, Neighbors. They could be a good offense.
What's a fair draft pick?
That's a tough. I don't know.
That's tough to equate.
Well, I don't mind
out.
If you can't get the Flores-Dable combo. That's why I don't mind it for the Raiders. Like if you can work out a deal with the Jets and then you can give up one of those picks for LaFleur. Baltimore Ravens, Minter 2-1, Kubiak 5, Flores and Kingsbury 8.
I think Minter's definitely going to cash in, is he not?
I would say Minter, yes. McDaniel is even money to be the Cleveland Browns coach. Yadinsky down 3-1.
Steam on him, by the way.
The Jags OC. Yep. Schwartz is 8.
By the way, on Minter, I didn't mean specifically for that job. I mean somewhere he's going to get a job, I would think.
Graziano has Salah going to the Raiders. He's not even listed here on all these guys.
That does nothing to me.
I can't imagine that. Flores is plus 150. Kubiak's 4-1.
I was talking to somebody here today at Circa, and they made a good point. If Mendoza is going to be the guy, let's say they keep that pick, and he is as good as some people think, right? He's going to be the guy for 15 years. He's your generational guy or franchise quarterback. Don't you want a young offensive guy working with him rather than Brian Flores? But I guess the take back on that would be, or the fight back would be, well, then if they bring in Dable as the OC and it works well, then Dable will probably only last for a couple of years before he gets another head coaching job somewhere, I would think.
Nagy's plus 140 to go to Tennessee.
People around the league saying that heavy interest in the Tennessee job because a lot of coaches like Cam Ward.
Okay. Shula's the favorite to go to Pittsburgh.
All right, Sal Palantonio on the program coming up next. his Super Bowl pick last week, the Philadelphia Eagles, no longer in the playoffs. Their OC is gone. What do they do next? We'll ask him coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.